Brahma-gyāna-timirandasya gyānanjana-shalakya chakshur-militanena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakam Lan Shri Gurun Vaishnavanascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tham Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamscha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavyaha Kirtadavyascha Smartavyash Chechata Bhaya. So, Shukadeva Goswami is describing to Parikshit Maharaj how one can learn the art of dying or how one can utilize one's human body properly. In other words, if we want to eliminate the miseries that we are in, then we have to get attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Shukadeva Goswami is talking about three things: hear, glorify, and remember. This is known in Sanskrit as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. You can only remember the Lord if you hear and glorify Him. If you do not hear and glorify the Lord, then it is impossible to remember the Lord. Just like giving you a mundane example, sometimes you may talk about somebody, but if you talk about somebody, there's a good chance you'll dream about that somebody in the night. So similarly, if you talk about Krishna, you'll remember Krishna. But if you don't talk about Krishna, you'll never remember Krishna. About this, there are no two opinions. So, just like last night, I was explaining why do we read the Bhagavad Gita? What is the purpose of reading the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to obtain knowledge so you can end your miseries. So similarly, through this process of chanting, you can free yourself from the entanglement of birth and death. It is clearly explained that even if you go to Brahma Loka, you cannot free yourself from the miseries of birth and death. Even if you go to Brahma Loka, you have to go through some miseries of birth and death. Further, this verse is explaining that the Lord is residing in everyone's heart as a super soul, and Lord is the controller of everything. So Krishna is residing in his spiritual abode. Nevertheless, at the same time, he is manifested everywhere. Like the sun disk is in one location, but still it is all pervasive. So as a super soul, the Lord is registering all our desires. And when he recognizes that we have a sincere desire to approach him, then he guides us accordingly. Now, chanting of the holy name is a sure method of self-realization in this age of Kali. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. In Kali Yuga, the Lord incarnates in his holy names. And it is explained, Kale dose nidarajan astika mahaguna kirtana deva Krishna se mukta sangasa param rajat. That in Kali Yuga, there are so many vices, but there is one benediction in this age, that is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So by chanting the holy names, especially chanting the holy names in a pure mentality, then this creeper of devotional service will grow taller and taller. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained that once the seed of devotional service is watered, then it begins to grow. And this tree grows taller and taller till it crosses this whole material covering. After it crosses the material covering, it crosses the Brahmajyoti, it crosses the Vaikuntha planets. And ultimately, it goes and takes shelter of Goloka Vrindavan. However, in the chanting of the holy name, there are certain offenses that one must be very careful to avoid. Why do we recite the 10 offenses every morning in every temple of ISKCON? Because it is so important to stay away from these offenses, and if you don't, even if you're chanting, devotional service can be ruined. So in chanting the holy names, there are certain important guidelines which we should try and observe. These guidelines are as follows. One is avoid offenses at the feet of advanced Vaishnavas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that just like a beautiful garden can be ruined if a mad elephant enters into it, similarly, the beautiful garden of devotional service gets ruined by Vaishnava aparadh. Therefore, all great sages have emphasized the importance of eliminating Vaishnava aparadha. How do you avoid Vaishnava aparadha? By not developing an envious attitude. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that just like a creeper has to be protected by having strong fencing around it, similarly the creeper of devotional service has to be protected. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further says that as the creeper of devotional service is growing, some unwanted weeds may also grow in your body. What are these weeds? These are desires for material enjoyment. Any type of material enjoyment, desire, gross and subtle, these are all considered weeds. One aspect of weed is disrespectful to the religious scriptures. The scriptures are saying, Sarva Dharma Parityajya, surrender to Krishna. Scriptures are saying, give up sense enjoyment. But we say, maybe the scriptures are not relevant in today's modern world. And we try to find fault in the scriptures. Why do we want to find fault? Because we want to justify your nonsense activities. So this is one aspect of the weed. Then you want to over-endeavor, work more than necessary in order to take care of your basic necessities of life. And because you have to over-endeavor, you have no time for chanting and reading. One important point to understand is that when the Bhagavatam says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarnam, this is not only the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, but it also includes the reading and the understanding of the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada has made this point very clear in many purports. So we not only have to chant our rounds attentively, we should also hear the Bhagavatam and the Gita attentively. If you just chant your rounds and you don't chant, you don't read every day, then your chanting will be incomplete. Therefore Bhagavatam says, Nasta Praesha Badresha Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam, all that is inauspicious in the heart is destroyed. Then another aspect of weed is your desire for prestige, adoration and material gain. You want everyone to respect you. And if you don't get enough respect in one temple, you go to another temple searching for more respect there. Then you want different material desires to be fulfilled. Material gain. So these are all different aspects of weeds. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if you are careful, then as soon as these weeds will appear, you can uproot them. Just like as soon as some symptoms of pain get manifested in your body, you run to the doctor. Especially if the pain is in a delicate portion like the brain or the heart. So as soon as you detect that these unwanted weeds are growing, you must at once take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra and try and unpluck, unroot, unweed, take out these weeds. What will happen if you don't take care of these weeds? It will hurt, it will prevent the growth of the creeper of devotional service. And the watering process will only help the weeds. It won't help the real creeper of devotional service. And the net result of chanting, which is the development of love of God, will not be there at all. So we have to be very careful that in the very initial stage, this be curbed. So the weeds are pulled out. And then there will be the development of love of God. One will see Krishna at every step. One will only engage in activities which are for the pleasure of Krishna. So the different stages of chanting the holy name, in the initial stages when you chant the holy name and at the same time commit offenses. But then as you chant for some time, you gradually realize that there are also some offenses that you should be avoiding. Just like many of you may have experienced when you were chanting, when you first started chanting the holy names, you were living outside, you just chanted 1 round, 2 rounds, gradually built it up to 16 rounds, but you did not concern yourself with the offenses. But then when you identify that they were offenses, you started trying to avoid the offenses. So, and then in this stage, you make a concentrated effort to minimize the offenses. And the third stage of chanting is when you're chanting without committing any offenses at all. Now, in this advanced, pure stage of chanting, there are certain symptoms that get manifested. One symptom is when you're chanting, your body begins to perspire. Yeah. Then your hair stand on end. These days, the Western hippies, the hippies in America have a new hairstyle. And the new hairstyle is the hair stands on end. So what they do, they shave off the side, they just grow the hair in the middle, and it stands on end. So half they're copying Hare Krishna and half they're copying the symptom of pure devotees. Then their voice begins to fail. due to developing ecstasy, the voice, you can't get choked up, you can't even speak. Then there's trembling in the body. Then tears come out when you're beginning to chant or when you're talking about Krishna, tears are coming out of your eyes. Then another symptom is the body becomes very pale, very, very thin. Another symptom, you get in complete trance, total absorption and happiness. So these different symptoms of advanced chanting are explained by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have very critically criticized those who manifest these 8 symptoms without understanding how these symptoms are, falsely manifest these symptoms. Those who falsely manifest these symptoms are known as Prakritya Sahajiyas. They want to make a show that they're very advanced. So when they're talking about Krishna, they will purposely start crying, and the innocent public will think, oh, this man is so advanced, he's self-realized. You go to India, you'll find many so-called preachers of the Bhagavatam. When they are reciting the Bhagavatam, in the middle they begin to cry and they act under the voice they choked up. And people think, oh, he's so advanced. The genuine devotee of the Lord does not manifest these symptoms in front of others. For example, when Lord Chaitanya met Ramananda Roy on the banks of the river Godavari, Lord Chaitanya was manifesting these symptoms. But then as soon as Lord Chaitanya saw that along with Ramananda Roy, there are some other non-Brahmanas who will not be able to understand the advanced symptoms that he would display, he controlled himself and he did not display these symptoms of ecstatic love of God. So we don't falsely manifest these symptoms, nor do we recognize those who are falsely manifesting these symptoms. You can go to Vrindavan, you'll find people who are smoking and doing everything, but in public when they are, they'll shed tears, they roll on the ground, their body will tremble. They're such great actors at displaying all these 8 symptoms. So, the devotee does not manifest and he doesn't falsely recognize those who are falsely manifesting these symptoms. So what is real bhava? Real bhava, you don't have to worry about manifesting these 8 symptoms, any of you. Real bhava, Prabhupada explains, is giving up material attachments. So when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you don't have to worry by standing in front of the mirror to see whether your hair is standing on end or not. You don't have to worry whether your body is trembling or no. You don't have to worry whether you're perspiring or not. You don't have to worry whether your body is becoming pale or not. You can test your advancement by only one factor. Are you giving up material attachments? And if you're giving up material attachments and dwelling attachment to Krishna, then the bhava is being manifested. So real bhava is not the manifesting of these symptoms, but real bhava is giving up on material attachment. So a genuine devotee recognizes that the material attachment has to be renounced because you cannot have spiritual love of God and material attachments at the same time. Just like you cannot hope to pour water and light fire at the same time. If you're trying to light fire, and on the other hand somebody else is pouring water, the fire will never get lit. And on the other hand, if you're trying to put off the fire and pour water at the same time, the fire will never be put off. So if you're trying to develop love of God, if you want to develop real bhava and not false bhava, then you have to recognize that these material desires have to be abandoned. So this chanting and hearing is a sure way by which this bhava can be developed. Therefore Rupa Goswami has said, my dear friend, whatever price you have to pay for becoming Krishna conscious, please pay that price and become Krishna conscious. And if we chant our holy name attentively, then the devotee becomes very powerful. Devotee is not after material power, spiritual power. He becomes fearless. In the material world, everybody is worried about so many uncertainties and anxieties. We are worried about whether I'm going to get food tomorrow, whether another country may not attack me. So many different types of fear are there. But devotee is fearless. Just like a child, son of a rich man, he automatically becomes powerful. The devotee is automatically powerful because of his devotion to Krishna. Therefore, it is said a devotee is fearless. Just like Amrish Maharaj. Amrish Maharaj was a devotee fixed in his meditation on the Lord. And Durvasa Muni was a powerful yogi. But he was defeated by what? The devotion of Amrish. So, to summarize the verse, Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out the importance of chanting, hearing and remembering the Lord's names. So chanting, hearing, remembering cannot be compromised whether you're in a marathon or no marathon, whether you're living at home or whether you're living in the temple. Because this is our spiritual food. Just like if you don't eat material food, you become weak and sleepy. So if you don't take spiritual food, you'll also become material, you'll sleep spiritually. Why are people sleeping spiritually? Because they don't want to take spiritual food. They think they can just go to the church or the temple once a week, once a month, and they will develop love of God. No! If you want to develop love of God, you have to take that spiritual medicine every day. This is known as the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. So Vaidhi Bhakti means following rules and regulations. Therefore we have a certain schedule. Mangalati class, Guru Puja, Japa. So if you follow this process of Vaidhi Bhakti, then you'll be able to remember Krishna. And when you're remembering Krishna, you will always want to be engaged in service to Krishna. When you're not remembering Krishna, you want to stay away from service to Krishna. And when you're remembering Krishna, when you chant your rounds nicely, you're anxious to be engaged in service all the time. So this is known as Samadhi. Samadhi doesn't mean close your eyes and fall asleep in the name of doing yoga. Samadhi means being actually thinking, absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and actually absorbed in serving Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, I understand the Lord Nrsimhadev marathon is still going on and it's going to go on till the 14th. So as I said, Samadhi means thinking of Krishna and thinking of Krishna's instructions. Krishna's instruction is, preach my glories to everyone. So here's an opportunity to preach. Here's an opportunity to spread the glories of the Lord. So take advantage of it and be happy. And if you don't take part in it, then what does it indicate? That you're not understanding the philosophy. You're not understanding the importance of preaching. So once you take part in preaching, that's a demonstration that you understand the philosophy. So are all the devotees going to take part in the marathon today, including visiting devotees? The visiting devotees are also entitled to getting Lord Nrsimhadev's mercy. Why should he give up the opportunity to get this mercy? So how many devotees are going to take part in the marathon today? Can we have a show of hands? Well, many devotee hands didn't go up. I wanted to remind everyone what I have been saying all along is, even those who have temple services can go at least for 1 hour every day during the marathon. So if you go out for 1 hour, even if you distribute 2-3 books, you have saved some people from going to hell. It's a very powerful feeling when you give somebody a book, give somebody the holy message. And this opportunity to distribute the Lord's mercy is only presented to the most confidential devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So please take advantage of this and become dear to Krishna and spiritual master and Prabhupada. So is everybody committing himself to take part in the marathon at least for 1 hour today? Yes or no? And even if you don't distribute too many books, don't feel bad, because Krishna will recognize the effort. Krishna will see, here is my devotee, so and so. He went out, he tried his best to save conditioned souls and to bring my lost children back to me. So, if you have the opportunity to get this mercy of the Lord, please avail of it. Hare Krishna. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Samkirtanam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.